that I took a gun, put it up, and killed another human being, and it would never, ever,
Murd is on trial for his murder. Murd sobbed in court today after jurors listened to audio.
What are you going to do if you hit the lottery worth $30 million? Give it all to charity, buy cars, jewelries, or put it all in investments? I know there are a whole lot of things you will definitely want to do with such large amount of money. Just let me know in the comment section. As I will be going ahead to tell you the story of Abraham Shakespeare, the man who bought the Florida lottery winning ticket worth $30 million, which was supposed to be a blessing, but he never expected how it turned out. But before we go further, aggressively smash the like button below. Kindly subscribe to this channel. Having done that, let's move on. Abraham Shakespeare was born on 22nd April 1966 in Florida, United States of America, to an African-American family. He dropped out of school at his 5th grade because he hated education, which rendered him completely illiterate. Because he could not read the easiest English words, nor compose a written sentence in English, which made him seek menial jobs, which will not warrant any form of certificate to gain such employment. In the year 2006, Shakespeare took a job as a truck driver assistant for a food delivery company where he gets menial pay. He could not fend for just himself, not to talk of his mother or his 2 kids whom he had with 2 separate women. He was literally living in abject poverty. On November 15, 2006, Abraham Shakespeare and his co-worker Michael Ford were headed towards Miami, where they stopped briefly at a convenience store to get drinks and cigarettes. Ford opened the truck, jumped out of it, and asked Shakespeare if he wanted a drink. But he rejected and asked Ford to get him 2 lottery tickets. And Shakespeare paid Ford $2 for the tickets he bought out of the $5 he had on him. One of the tickets was worth $30 million. Little did he know that he will become the lucky winner of the Florida lottery. Upon winning the lottery, Shakespeare was given 2 options on how he wants his money to be paid to him. Either a lump sum of $17 million paid at once, or the whole $30 million spread across several years, but instead, he chose the $17 million. I think this was where his decision turned out bad and every circumstance played out against him. After Abraham got his $17 million lottery win, the news spread across all media houses, and soon, people who were familiar with him came knocking. At first, after winning the lottery, he faced a lawsuit against him by his very own friend, who requested Shakespeare to give him the sum of $1 million, but Shakespeare rejected, which prompted Ford to file a lawsuit against Shakespeare, claiming he was the owner of the lottery ticket, that Shakespeare only stole it from his wallet while he was away. Although luckily for Shakespeare, the jury squashed the case when they realized all Ford's claims were false and selfish. Not long after Abraham came out in court victorious against Ford, he was faced with an unending queue of both family, friends, and total strangers soliciting for financial support from him. He assisted a lot of people till he got sick of their unending pleas. And at some point, he regretted ever winning the lottery and wished he could go back to his old days where he was poor. He made this known in some of his statements where he told his brother, "I do have been better off broke. I'm told the childhood friend, I thought all these people were my friends, but then I realized all they wanted is just money."
I really would like my old life back where I could walk the streets like a normal person.
You get tired of people asking you for money all the time, Abe?
They don't take no for an ounce.
Frustrated of all these appeals for money, he relocated from Lakeland, Florida, to an apartment in a gated community, which was worth over $1 million. One of Shakespeare's main problems was that he was illiterate and he lacked the financial wisdom to manage such large amount of money. Just within a short while, he had given out thousands of dollars with no proper account. It was obvious that he needed a financial advisor. And this time the person he hired turned out to be the worst decision he will ever make in his lifetime. In the year 2008, Shakespeare attended a business conference where he met Doris Moore, also known as D.D. Moore, the woman who would soon become his financial advisor. D.D. Moore walked straight towards him and told him about her interest in writing a book about his success story. He just felt it was normal and they exchanged contacts, but what he never knew was that she had secret motives. She was never a writer and have never written a book in her entire life. After a couple of meetings, she was able to convince Shakespeare to make her his account manager. She made herself signatory to his properties and fraudulently transferred all the money in his bank account into hers, in the pretense of helping him to manage them. As time went on, days turned into weeks and weeks into months. She grew extremely selfish and wanted all of his wealth solely to herself, so she was desperately ready to go any mile possible in order to achieve her goal. On 7th April, while Abraham visited D.D. Moore in her apartment because they lived in the same neighborhood, as he entered her apartment, having sighted him through the windows, she pulled out a gun and shot him twice, where he died instantly in her apartment in trying to cover up her tracks. She wrapped his body and buried him at the parking lot behind her apartment in a 9-foot death pit and sealed it with a slab made of concrete. Subsequently, she withdrew $1 million from the stolen money and bought herself a Hummer, a Chevrolet Corvette, and the truck, before going on vacation to spend some time alone in the company of her boyfriend. After several months passed by, none of his family members heard from him, so they decided to ask his account manager, Doris Moore, of his whereabouts. She said Shakespeare had decided to leave town and had gone to no definite place, probably Texas, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, or some island, because he complained about being frustrated of people asking him for money. So she helped him leave town to get some rest off all his problems, so as to maintain a stable state of mind. Months later, Shakespeare's family received a letter with the name William Shakespeare boldly written on it. It contained a written note and the $100 bill. At this point, his family sensed something was going wrong, because it was common knowledge that Shakespeare was illiterate and he never sent letters to anyone because he could not compose them. He only gets through to people via phone calls. So while having this suspicion of something being wrong, his family filed a missing person report on 9th November 2009. Immediately, Doris Moore was summoned for questioning after a series of interrogations, although Doris Moore refused giving full details. But earlier than she thought, she got hooked up on the webs of the detectives, and she was declared a prime suspect for the death of Abraham Shakespeare.
You know I'm not the one that shot him. I wouldn't hurt.
Then who did, Dee? Tell us.
Not long after that, it was discovered that Doris Moore had made William Shakespeare to sign some document for the transfer of ownership of all his properties. Because he could not read, so he signed it in ignorance, and she killed him after that. In the heat of the investigation, she later confessed to where she buried Shakespeare, covered his grave with a concrete slab, and parked one of her cars right on it. The slab was later destroyed and Shakespeare's decaying body exhumed based on the court's order. Doris Moore was found guilty for the murder of Abraham Shakespeare, and she was sentenced to life in prison without an option of parole. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button aggressively, subscribe to this channel, and if you're a fan of true dark and mysterious stories, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so as to keep yourself updated with our subsequent uploads. You can also follow us on Facebook, where we post not just videos but short true crime stories, and on TikTok at darktimes_1.